Okay, so I'm on my tablet slash laptop for this video, so it's kind of new lighting and stuff, so it's better quality, but I wanted to talk about loneliness and healthy ways to cope with it, especially if you're in recovery or you have codependency issues or you just got a relationship or you just struggle with it in general. It kind of applies to everybody, but there's different, you know, methods and ways to cope that work differently for, each person, for each situation of why they're lonely. But I've struggled with loneliness like my whole life, since I was a child. I myself personally, for some reason, my whole life always grew up feeling like different from everybody else, and not in an egotistical way, just like off, kind of like a loner and outcast. As social and extroverted I was in the past, or even right now as a person, I, looking back, always found myself, I'd be at a party or a room full of people and I just feel so alone. And I felt that way in like my relationships and stuff too. So even with friends, even with family at times, just I'm not really sure why or how that comes about. I'm sure there's a psychological, a practical reason or whatever, but that's just how I've always felt my whole life, since I can remember. And for me personally, that, misunderstood loneliness, and the depth of it for me, kind of evolved and developed into codependency issues and substance use issues, addiction issues, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I am learning how to be okay with being alone, and when the disparity of loneliness overcomes me or hits me in my feelings or my thoughts, I am slowly finding healthier, more effective ways of dealing with it, and being okay with being alone, because there's a difference between being alone, in your solitude, isolated, no one's around, having your peace and quiet, like your solitude, and then there's loneliness, and that's this like pain in your heart, and that kind of gap in your soul, and that like clinging battered thought in your head that is just, it's torturous, it's painful, it sucks, like breaking it down, biologically or whatever you want to call it, like us as human beings in general, we are social creatures, we are meant to socialize with other human beings and, mate and togetherness and have, circles of other human beings, around, and that's like in our biological makeup, but we have this lovely thing right here, around there, called our frontal cortex, and it gives us the ability of morality and deeper thought and awareness of our behaviors and socialization behaviors and habits. So some of it's not pretty. So a big thing is loneliness, or feeling lonely, even when you are in a room full of people, and I get that. I can account many a time where I found myself being around people that I probably shouldn't be around, that probably weren't the best for me, and I probably weren't the best influence for them, just because I just didn't want to fucking be alone. I have put myself in situations or relationships or, experience with other people for the sake of loneliness and not the sake of love, and just never worked out. And that's a huge codependency issue. So it was very telling to me when I got sober off alcohol that we have an acronym in Alcoholics Anonymous called HALT. It's hunger, anger, loneliness, and what is the other one I have here? And tired. So, yes, felt all four of those quite often. But in relation to loneliness, yes. I noticed, I I haven't been throwing parties, obviously, or like really reaching people to like come over and spend time with me and make me forget about how lonely I feel. So I was addicted to that as well, not only substances, just people around me all the time, partying and socializing, because I was so lonely inside. And what I also come to realize recently too is that maybe a huge reason I feel so lonely in here is because I abandoned myself. I was like, peace out. Like, I don't know who I am. I abandoned that inner child. I abandoned myself for the sake of other people or substance or something external, right? So it all encompassing coming back together made me realize, holy shit, I feel this way continuously because I don't have a relationship with myself. I can't sit alone with myself for too long or work on myself, figure out who I am, because I have no idea. I left her in the dust. So makes sense to me now. I'm clear-headed, and I'm in the rooms and I'm doing my step work for my AA program, and I'm talking to my sponsor and all the lovely people in the program in the rooms, and they've all felt the same things I have and gone through the same experiences I have, and that's where I finally felt like not alone in a room full of people. And I can't tell you the miracle about it. And maybe, maybe you're not an addict or an alcoholic, and maybe you find that going back to church, or maybe you find that getting a counselor. Maybe you find that like doing a new hobby and finding a new like circle of like-minded people that you're interested in, trying out a new hobby or experience with. Maybe it's just going to be a random occurrence. You don't know. It's God's will. It's God's plan. Like, we're just here. We're just handlers. We're just, scathing this rock floating around this big star that's on fire. So, and that's basically what we're doing. But we're here to do something phenomenally and spiritually and intensely important, and that's giving to others, making the experience of existence better. Just doing something greater than ourselves, right? What we want to do, or what we think we want to do, or don't want to do. Yeah, it's not easy. It's uncomfortable. It's lonely at times. It's very lonely. And that's a big thing for me, especially with my romantic or intimate relationships. So you go back to codependency, like I've always been in a relationship or been involved with somebody, and I, up until recently when I got sober, I was like, I'm going to be celibate and just be honest with people that show interest or want to court me or date me or whatever. Listen, I'm in recovery. My step work, my relationship with God and my higher power is number one. My kid, my education, my work, and myself, then that. Whereas I was always putting others, especially my romantic relationships, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, first above everything. Putting people so high on a pedestal just for the sake of loneliness, so I wouldn't feel alone. I thought if I could treat somebody like God, right? Treat somebody so highly in my own way, because it has to be my way, right? That I won't feel alone anymore inside. Just nothing what I was doing before made any sense. And I have no business and no sense going around talking about relationships and how to do them, because I have no fucking idea. I can tell you what you shouldn't do, and you can listen to that if you want. It's all optional, right? It's all unsolicited, but I have no idea how to have a healthy relationship. I have no idea how to even have a relationship with myself, let alone. So, I don't know. If you ever felt that way that I have, can relate to this, be good. So, some healthy coping things that I found with loneliness is inner child work, shadow work. Think back to your childhood and think of the activities that you loved to do alone. Or just love to do in general. Mine was painting, drawing, writing, coloring, creating things, artistic stuff. That was a big one for me. Mine was singing, making and playing and listening to music. I love working out alone. I don't know why, I love getting a pump and, breaking out in sweat by myself, preferably. Walks, sitting outside on my porch at night. And if you're feeling so lonely that you want a human connection, you want to talk to somebody that is healthy for you, to your best knowledge of what's healthy for you, right? Because this is an issue we're struggling with, right? So, like, call a parent that you have a healthy relationship with, or a family member. Call your sponsor if you're in recovery, or an AA member. I don't recommend calling an ex, or calling someone you've had beef with or toxic relationship with, and they just want to feel things out because you're feeling lonely. Don't call a random fucking stranger either. Like if you're on a dating app, don't fucking call like a random Tinder, match or whatever. Don't do that. If you have pets, talk to your fucking pets. Or meditate. Yeah, mindfulness. Sit there and be like, why am I feeling lonely right now? Sit with it. Clear your head of all your thoughts. The answer will come. I'm telling you, I'm going to feel a lot better. Get really hyper-focused on something, like a hobby or an activity. So it could be like hiking, or like art, music, fitness, cooking. Declutter your house. Oh, that's a big one. I am like, okay, I'm going to go declutter something in my house, because I go through periods where I just shove a bunch of shit in one area or near multiple areas, and then I'll go through periods where I'm like, I gotta pull everything out and declutter it. So do that. Fucking spring clean your house. And if you have children, go and hug your kid. Tell them you love them. See what they're doing. Hang out with them. Listen to them. It doesn't matter how old they are. They could be a toddler or like a teenager. They may or may not, depending on their age, want nothing to do with you, because that's just how the developmental stages of humans are, especially in like the teenage years or, preteen years. But just go hug your kid or kids. Pet your dog, because you're really not alone when you think about it. Your mind, whatever's lacking in your soul and your heart, tries to convince you that you are, and it rips holes inside of you. And it's unnecessary. You're truly not alone. Talk to your higher power. Talk to your God. Because He's always there. Day or night. Doesn't matter what time it is. Doesn't matter where you're at. What you're doing. Always there. You just gotta talk. Reach out. God bless you guys. I hope this helps somebody or someone related to it. But you're not alone. Keep on keeping on.